It's looking more and more likely that TikTok is either going to be banned in the US or a sale is going to be forced from ByteDance, its parent company, which is based in China and has a board member who is part of the CCP, is going to be forced to sell the company to somebody. Now, we don't know exactly what the valuation of TikTok would be, but I've seen reports of anywhere from $50 to almost $225 billion. Now, these are paper valuations, so we don't know what you would get in the actual open market if someone is going to buy the company, but there's only a handful of companies that could actually pay that kind of money for TikTok. And it's not entirely clear right now whether ByteDance, the company that controls TikTok, is going to be interested in a sale of the company. So as we enter this tumultuous phase for TikTok, I think it's pretty clear that there are going to be at least 3 winners of publicly traded stocks that will benefit from both creators and users moving off of TikTok and onto other platforms. Those 3 winners are going to be Meta Platforms with Instagram, Facebook, and all of its suite of apps, Alphabet, which owns YouTube and YouTube Shorts, and then Snap, which created Snapchat. This would potentially be a major competitor and a growing competitor being taken off the market for them in their biggest market, and that is in the US. So I'm going to dig through some of the numbers today and give some context around what kind of a benefit would be seen by these 3 companies, because I don't think that we've seen a huge market reaction to the House passing a bill that would either force a sale or ban TikTok. But if this moves further in the Senate and ultimately lands on the president's desk, I think we should see a little bit more movement, because it's very possible that there isn't actually a sale of TikTok. And so those users and creators ultimately have to move elsewhere. My name is Travis Hoyam. Thanks for watching Asymmetric Investing. Please subscribe here on YouTube for all my content. And thanks to this video's sponsor, The Motley Fool. If you go to fool.com/ASYM, they'll give you their top 10 stocks to buy right now. I want to start with some stats behind a couple of these companies. And I think this should put into context exactly how big they are. This is a look at Meta Platforms, and Meta Platforms says that their total monthly active users, now this would be all of their platforms, but their unique monthly users is over 3 billion now, 3.1 billion people. So for all intents and purposes, that's basically everyone with a smartphone with internet access in the world. Snap is a much smaller company, but it still has 414 million daily active users. Now, they're reporting these things a little bit differently. Meta, monthly active users, Snap, daily active users. But Snap, as a smaller company, is also generating far less revenue because it doesn't have the same ad platform. Now, TikTok has 170 million American users. That's where this bill would impact the company, is specifically in the US. The other base of users would be YouTube, which we don't have exact numbers, but there are over 1 billion YouTube users in the world. And Shorts are really integrated into YouTube. So whether you're looking at it on a desktop or a mobile device, Shorts is something that YouTube has really proliferated. But what's interesting is not only a user and creator standpoint, we're also talking about advertisers having to move off of the platform. And that's what actually pulls the money with it. One of the things that has been talked about recently, and I've seen some of the lobbying talk about creators, about thousands of companies and small businesses not being able to reach their customers if TikTok is ultimately pulled off of app stores. But that's not really the case. All of those advertisements have already started to move to places like Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Snap. Really, it's the same form factor. You're maybe changing a couple of things about the way that the ad works, but this is a form factor. The way that the video works has really been copied by everybody else. So I don't think there's going to be that big of a change from a creator perspective or from an advertising perspective to just simply move where you're posting your content and where that content is being monetized or ads are being shown. So this is somewhat unprecedented, at least in the social media era, but this is not a case where people are going to be not able to use their devices. They're just going to simply be using a different app than they used to use. So that might be a usage change, but that's something that we've gone through before with social media in particular. Thanks to our friends at The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/ASYM for the top 10 stocks to buy right now. What kind of a potential revenue bounce are we going to talk about for these companies? Well, eMarketer estimates that TikTok generated about $6.2 billion worth of revenue in 2023. Let's compare that to each of these companies. And these are a little bit difficult to compare given the scale and the maturity of their ad markets. But you can see here that YouTube generated $31.5 billion worth of advertising revenue in 2023. Meta Platforms generated $52.9 billion worth of revenue. That is in the United States and Canada. And North American ad revenue at Snap was $3.0 billion. So depending on where this money goes, it could be a really big impact. A company like Snap, if that gets half of the advertising revenue that was going to TikTok, that would double their revenue in North America. So that could be a really big impact. I don't think that's probably going to happen because both YouTube and Meta have better advertising platforms, have better tools for tracking those advertisements, and that's why they're just better monetization tools. But it's very possible that the creators potentially move over to Snap, and that draws a bigger audience and it creates a little bit of a flywheel for Snap. Now, I think this is one of the companies that has really missed its opportunity in social media. You look at the growth curve that they have from both a revenue perspective and a user perspective, and they've not been able to turn that into profitability. So not a company that I think deserves a lot of investor attention, but at least worth keeping an eye on if TikTok is not operational in the US. I think Meta and YouTube are likely going to be the two winners, and it's not really clear which one is going to take how much market share. But again, a lot of the content is going to end up on both of those platforms, both with Shorts and then Instagram Reels. And this might not be a massive impact, but even a 5, 6, 7% increase in revenue for YouTube and for Meta's app platforms could be a really nice boost. And these are going to be incremental sources of revenue, not a huge increase in cost. So a lot of that money is going to disproportionately flow to the bottom line. But the other thing is it's going to take a major competitor out of the market. And I think if there was any questions about the growth of Snap, Instagram, or YouTube, one of the biggest ones was what was going to happen with TikTok. They were moving into a lot of different product segments. They were obviously getting a ton of user attention, gaining advertising revenue at a really rapid rate. And now it's possible that all that disruption is pulled back and the user base, the advertising base, ends up going back to these more established players. So there's a lot that could happen here. But as we look at everything that's happening with TikTok in the US, the bill that's now going to the Senate, it's very possible that those three companies, Meta, Alphabet with YouTube, and Snap, are the three beneficiaries of a ban or forced sale of TikTok. The other one to watch potentially is Twitter, and that's because the company is moving so quickly. They've really focused on video. A lot of that is more long-form video, but this was the company that owned Vine, created Vine. So it's very possible that they could get into short-term video like TikToks as well. So keep an eye on Twitter, but that's not a publicly traded company, so I didn't really focus on it here today. Now, if TikTok is sold and someone else buys it, like one of the big tech companies, that could be potentially a very different story, because that could be a real boon for them. But we'll see exactly what happens over the next few weeks and months. Check back here on this channel for more. Don't forget to subscribe to Asymmetric Investing, everybody. Thanks for watching. See you here next time.